There are moments in life when a message arrives, urgent and insistent, and it feels as though it carries a weight beyond words. Such messages are rarely merely external. They resonate with something deep within the psyche. They are echoes of unconscious signals, arising from layers of the mind that are usually silent, yet always observing. These communications call attention not only to the circumstances surrounding them, but also to the inner world of the recipient, highlighting fears, desires, and unacknowledged truths. When you receive such a message, it is a moment of revelation, an invitation to notice what has been overlooked. It challenges the mind to pause and reflect, to listen closely to the hidden dialogue that exists between consciousness and unconsciousness. Ignoring this call may feel easier, but it risks allowing the essential truths of the psyche to remain obscured, leaving opportunities for growth unfulfilled. Urgency in communication is not a coincidence. It is the mind's way of signaling that something of importance demands immediate attention, something that touches both external reality and inner awareness simultaneously. Recognizing this interplay requires mindfulness, the ability to separate surface distraction from meaningful insight, and the courage to confront what is revealed. This type of message is not merely a collection of words or directives, it is a mirror reflecting the deeper dynamics of the self. The urgency inherent in it can stir emotions that range from anxiety to anticipation, from hesitation to curiosity. These emotional responses are clues to the underlying content of the message, pointing to areas of tension, unresolved conflict, or latent potential. The psyche communicates through symbolism, metaphor, and feeling, rather than direct instruction. Understanding an urgent message, therefore, involves attending not only to what is said, but also to what is implied, to what resonates within. It is in the space between words and interpretation that the unconscious speaks most clearly. By engaging with these messages consciously, a person begins to integrate what was previously hidden, aligning conscious action with inner truth. The process is subtle and often requires patience, reflection, and a willingness to observe one's own internal reactions without immediate judgment. Urgent communication, when approached in this way, becomes a tool for self-knowledge, revealing patterns, priorities, and internal conflicts that have remained dormant. The arrival of an urgent message also functions as a test of readiness. Life often presents opportunities or warnings when the individual is prepared to perceive them, even if preparation is unconscious. The psyche has a remarkable way of orchestrating timing, drawing attention to that which is crucial at the precise moment it can be most fully received. Responding effectively requires not only awareness of the message itself, but also recognition of one's own psychological state, emotional capacity, and readiness to act. The message is never simply about external circumstances, it is also about internal alignment, the harmony between perception and response. To ignore urgency is to risk the message's transformative potential, while mindful engagement can lead to profound insight and growth. Each urgent message thus carries a dual significance. It speaks to the reality outside of the self and to the reality within, urging the recipient to listen deeply, reflect carefully, and respond with both awareness and integrity. Timing in life is rarely coincidental. Often messages arrive at moments that feel fated, when the mind and the world intersect in ways that defy simple explanation. Urgency in communication frequently reflects a deeper alignment between inner and outer reality, a meaningful coincidence that signals an opportunity or a warning. These moments, which can feel both startling and inevitable, are instances of synchronicity, where the psyche encounters external circumstances that resonate perfectly with internal states. Such timing is not always predictable, yet it is deeply instructive, revealing the interconnectedness of consciousness and the environment. To recognize and honor these moments is to participate consciously in the unfolding of life, responding not merely to events, but to their significance within the larger tapestry of experience. Urgent messages arrive precisely when the individual is psychologically poised to perceive them, even if this readiness is unconscious, and the task of the recipient is to notice, reflect, and discern meaning with clarity. Synchronicity operates as a bridge between what is known and what is yet to be understood. When a message arrives with urgency, it calls attention to patterns that may have gone unnoticed, encouraging the recipient to consider how events, circumstances, and internal states intersect. There is a profound intelligence in this timing, an invisible orchestration that invites engagement with life at a deeper level. The urgency signals that this is a moment not to be ignored, because the alignment between inner readiness and external circumstance presents a rare window for insight or decisive action. Each urgent message thus becomes a catalyst, pushing the individual toward awareness of connections that might otherwise remain hidden. To perceive synchronicity requires openness, a willingness to look beyond surface events, and to recognize the subtle interplay of inner experience and external reality that gives life its richness and meaning. Understanding the timing of urgent messages also involves embracing patience alongside responsiveness. It is not always necessary to act immediately without reflection, yet it is crucial to remain attentive and present. Life's signals are often fleeting, and missing a moment of alignment can delay growth or obscure important understanding. Urgency heightens awareness, compelling a person to notice what might otherwise be overlooked in the rush of routine. By attending to the confluence of timing and inner readiness, the recipient can discern the significance of the message in ways that are both practical and transformative. The experience underscores the importance of trusting the subtle rhythms of life, recognizing that each urgent communication carries meaning beyond its immediate content, and that timely attention can illuminate pathways toward clarity, self-awareness, and informed action. When a message arrives with urgency, it does more than convey information. It triggers a profound psychological response. Human beings are naturally sensitive to signals that demand immediate attention, and the mind reacts with a mixture of emotions, thoughts, and impulses. Anxiety, curiosity, hesitation, or even excitement may arise, reflecting the internal conflict between the known and the unknown. These reactions are not random. They provide a window into the unconscious mind, revealing fears, expectations, and desires that have previously remained hidden. The way a person responds to urgency mirrors their internal state, their readiness to face challenges, and their capacity to integrate new information. By observing these responses, one can gain insight into patterns of thought, emotional resilience, and the interplay between conscious reasoning and unconscious instinct. Urgent messages in this sense are more than external prompts. They are mirrors of the psyche, illuminating the inner dynamics that shape perception, interpretation, and decision-making. The emotional impact of urgent communication is deeply intertwined with self-awareness. When confronted with immediacy, the mind may oscillate between action and reflection, between fear and clarity. Recognizing this oscillation is essential, for it signals areas where the individual may need to pause and consider the underlying significance of the message. Emotions such as worry or anticipation are not obstacles, they are indicators, guiding attention to what matters most. Understanding the psychological weight of urgency allows the recipient to navigate the response more deliberately, transforming initial reactivity into conscious engagement. Each feeling that arises is a clue, a fragment of the message hidden within the emotional landscape, offering insight into both the external situation and the internal state of the self. By attending to these signals with mindfulness, one can respond in a manner that is measured, aware, and aligned with deeper truths. Urgent messages also challenge the balance between instinct and deliberation. The immediate call to action can provoke impulsive behavior, yet reflection is required to ensure that the response is appropriate and constructive. The tension created by urgency reveals how the psyche negotiates between immediate survival instincts and higher-order awareness. It highlights strengths, vulnerabilities, and the capacity for discernment under pressure. By embracing the psychological complexity of these moments, individuals develop resilience and insight, recognizing that urgency is not a mere inconvenience, but a psychological tool designed to provoke awareness and growth. Each urgent communication provides an opportunity to explore how one perceives, interprets, and integrates information, ultimately fostering a more coherent relationship between conscious understanding and unconscious insight. In this way, urgency becomes a teacher, guiding the mind toward clarity, balance, and intentional action. When an urgent message arrives, its true meaning is rarely contained in the words alone. Often, communication carries layers of implication, emotion, and symbolism that require careful attention to interpret accurately. The challenge lies in distinguishing between what is superficial and what is essential, between the noise of distraction and the signal of significance. Clarity in interpretation is not achieved through haste or impulsive reaction. It emerges through deliberate reflection, attentive observation, and a willingness to probe beneath the surface. This process mirrors the broader task of integrating unconscious material into conscious awareness, where careful discernment allows insight to emerge from ambiguity. An urgent message, by its very nature, demands that the recipient pause long enough to perceive the subtle cues, the underlying intention, and the resonance it has with both external circumstances and internal states. Approaching communication in this way transforms urgency from a source of anxiety into an opportunity for understanding and personal growth. The pursuit of clarity requires an attunement to both the content and the context of the message. Words alone can mislead, for they are shaped by habit, bias, and incomplete expression. True understanding depends on observing tone, timing, and the emotional weight behind the words. Urgency amplifies these factors, emphasizing what is most critical while exposing ambiguity and inconsistency that might otherwise go unnoticed. By examining the interplay between message and context, one begins to discern the patterns that reveal intention and significance. This discernment also requires self-reflection, as the interpretation of urgent communication is inevitably filtered through one's own experiences, expectations, and unconscious responses. The task, then, is not only to understand the external signal, but also to recognize the internal processes that shape perception. Clarity is achieved when these layers converge, when observation, reflection, and awareness align to reveal the essential truth beneath the urgent surface. Engaging with messages with clarity also necessitates patience and mindfulness. Urgency may create a pressure to act quickly, but the risk of misinterpretation increases under haste. Thoughtful reflection allows one to separate the ephemeral from the essential, to consider the long-term implications of response rather than reacting solely to immediate stimulus. By cultivating this careful engagement, the recipient transforms urgency into insight, turning a moment of potential stress into an opportunity for conscious alignment and informed action. Each message becomes a mirror, reflecting both the intentions of the sender and the readiness of the recipient to perceive, understand, and integrate meaning. In this way, clarity is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is a practice of psychological awareness, fostering the ability to navigate life's urgent moments with composure, discernment, and integrity. True understanding, achieved through deliberate attention, allows the individual to act in harmony with both external reality and inner wisdom, ensuring that urgent communication serves as a guide rather than a source of confusion. Every urgent message carries a relational dimension, whether it is recognized or not. Communication does not occur in isolation. It always reflects the interplay between the sender and the recipient, revealing the dynamics of connection that exist between individuals. Urgency in a message often indicates that the sender is attempting to reach the recipient with precision and immediacy, reflecting needs, expectations, or unspoken tensions. The recipient, in turn, experiences not only the content of the message, but also the subtle emotional cues embedded within it, cues that illuminate the relational landscape. These cues may evoke feelings of responsibility, empathy, or even apprehension, depending on the nature of the relationship and the psychological readiness of the recipient. By paying attention to these relational undercurrents, a person can gain insight into not only what is being communicated, but also how it affects the larger network of interpersonal dynamics in which they are involved. Urgent communication, then, serves as both a practical signal and a mirror of relational reality. Understanding the relational aspect of urgent messages requires awareness of both self and other. The urgency conveys the sender's internal state, perhaps fear, need, or expectation, but it also interacts with the recipient's internal readiness, emotional patterns, and habitual responses. Observing this interplay allows the recipient to discern the motives, pressures, and intentions that lie beneath the surface. It also encourages reflection on one's own reactions. Why certain messages provoke anxiety, why some require immediate action, and why others may trigger resistance or hesitation. In this sense, the urgent message functions as a lens through which relational patterns are revealed, highlighting areas where communication is effective, strained, or misunderstood. By attending to these patterns, individuals cultivate empathy, discernment, and a deeper understanding of the human dynamics at play, transforming urgency into an opportunity for relational insight rather than a source of conflict. The relational dimension also emphasizes responsibility and conscious engagement. Urgent messages often demand attention not only to content, but to context, tone, and timing, all of which reflect relational dynamics. Responding appropriately requires mindfulness, a willingness to consider both the sender's perspective and one's own role in the communication. Urgency, in this sense, acts as a prompt for reflection, encouraging the recipient to engage ethically, attentively, and with sensitivity. This process fosters healthier interaction, as awareness of relational undercurrents allows for response that is measured, balanced, and informed. Each urgent message becomes an opportunity to navigate interpersonal dynamics with clarity, recognizing that communication is both a mirror and a bridge, reflecting internal states while offering the chance to connect consciously, responsibly, and harmoniously with another person. In attending to the relational dimension, urgency transforms from pressure into insight, guiding understanding and growth in both personal and shared experience. Urgent messages often demand more than attention. They call for courage. The arrival of a message with urgency can provoke hesitation, fear, or doubt, challenging the recipient to confront unknown consequences. Courage in this context is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it, to engage with the message fully, and to accept the responsibility inherent in responding. Urgency highlights the stakes involved, revealing the potential for growth, learning, and transformation, but it also exposes vulnerability. Every decision made under the pressure of immediacy tests inner strength, discernment, and clarity. By recognizing this, the recipient can shift from reactive instinct to intentional action, understanding that courage is a skill of the psyche, cultivated through awareness, reflection, and repeated engagement with moments of challenge. The message is a mirror, reflecting both the opportunity and the necessity to rise above avoidance and indecision, embracing the path that leads to conscious alignment and meaningful response. Courage in the face of urgency also requires a deep trust in oneself. The unconscious often presents situations that test readiness, revealing strengths and limitations simultaneously. Responding effectively demands a balance between reflection and action, a willingness to consider possibilities without becoming paralyzed by doubt. It requires faith in one's capacity to discern the essential truth within the message and to navigate the external circumstances with integrity. Acting courageously does not mean impulsivity or recklessness. It involves thoughtful engagement, a measured willingness to step into the unknown, and a commitment to align behavior with values, purpose, and inner understanding. The urgency of the message is an invitation to awaken latent strength, to exercise agency, and to integrate insight into conscious choice, transforming what might otherwise be a moment of anxiety into an opportunity for empowerment and growth. The courage demanded by urgent insight also has a transformative effect on the psyche. By confronting what is immediate, pressing, or uncertain, the recipient engages with the self at a deeper level, confronting shadow elements, unresolved fears, and internal resistance. Each courageous response strengthens the capacity to act consciously, increasing resilience and psychological flexibility. Urgent messages serve as catalysts, testing the alignment between inner readiness and external action, challenging avoidance and inviting authentic engagement with life's demands. The act of responding courageously fosters trust in oneself, clarity in decision-making, and the ability to navigate complexity with composure. In this way, urgency is not simply a call to action, it is an instrument for psychological growth, teaching the individual that courage is cultivated through awareness, reflection, and the willingness to embrace the unknown with presence, responsibility, and integrity. Urgent messages carry with them not only information, but also a moral weight. When confronted with communication that demands immediate attention, the recipient is faced with choices that have consequences beyond the immediate moment. These choices are rarely neutral. They touch relationships, personal integrity, and the broader context in which one exists. Responding without awareness of ethical implications can lead to misunderstanding, harm, or missed opportunity. The urgency itself serves as a test, prompting reflection on the responsibilities that come with knowledge and action. Each decision requires careful consideration, weighing the needs of others alongside one's own principles. In this way, urgent messages are not simply calls to act, but invitations to exercise moral discernment, ensuring that responses are guided by awareness, empathy, and integrity rather than impulse or convenience. The ethical dimension of urgent communication is closely tied to self-awareness. Acting hastily or without reflection can reinforce unconscious patterns, while deliberate consideration allows the individual to respond in alignment with both internal values and external realities. Urgency heightens the stakes, amplifying the consequences of action or inaction. To navigate this effectively, one must pause to understand the broader implications of the response, considering how it will affect relationships, outcomes, and personal development. The message is both a practical directive and a moral prompt, urging the recipient to act with conscientiousness. By recognizing the ethical component inherent in urgency, the individual cultivates the capacity to respond responsibly, balancing immediate need with long-term consequences and fostering trust, clarity, and integrity in the process. Ethical engagement with urgent messages also involves sensitivity to the intentions and circumstances of others. The urgency may reflect the sender's needs, pressures, or emotional state, and a measured, morally aware response requires attention to these factors. Awareness of relational and social dynamics ensures that action is not solely self-centered, but responsive to the interconnectedness of human experience. Every urgent message presents an opportunity to practice ethical reflection, to assess the potential impact of action, to recognize the responsibilities implicit in receiving information, and to choose a path that respects both self and other. In this way, urgency becomes more than a signal. It transforms into a guide for conscious, responsible, and principled action. By attending to its moral and ethical dimensions, the recipient not only fulfills the immediate demand of the message, but also aligns with deeper principles, strengthening both character and relational harmony. The ethical approach ensures that urgency, rather than causing reactive or harmful behavior, fosters insight, responsibility, and enduring wisdom. Once an urgent message has been received and action has been taken, the process is far from complete. Integration and reflection are essential steps that allow the experience to contribute meaningfully to personal growth and understanding. Each message carries insights not only about external circumstances, but also about the inner workings of the psyche, and without careful reflection, these insights may remain dormant. By revisiting the events, decisions, and responses associated with the message, the individual can observe patterns, recognize the lessons embedded within, and bring unconscious knowledge into conscious awareness. This process deepens self-understanding, clarifies motives and intentions, and allows one to see the interplay between reaction and choice, urgency and reflection, external demand and internal readiness. Integration ensures that the urgency of the moment does not fade into mere stress or confusion, but becomes a catalyst for lasting wisdom. Reflection after action also strengthens psychological resilience. When individuals take time to process urgent experiences, they develop the ability to navigate future challenges with greater clarity and composure. Each message becomes a case study in awareness, decision-making, and alignment with inner values. The mind is able to examine what was effective, what was overlooked, and how emotional responses influence choices. This reflective process is an opportunity to reconcile unconscious reactions with conscious intention, ensuring that future responses are increasingly informed and balanced. The urgency that initially provoked pressure transforms into insight, highlighting the interconnectedness of experience, perception, and behavior. By systematically engaging in reflection, the individual builds a framework for understanding complex events, integrating lessons into a coherent narrative of self-awareness and growth. Integration is also a form of honoring the message itself. Urgent communication is rarely arbitrary. It often arrives at a moment when the individual is uniquely positioned to learn or act in a meaningful way. By taking time to internalize the experience, one acknowledges the significance of the message, respects the wisdom embedded within it, and allows its impact to resonate beyond the immediate context. Reflection provides perspective on the consequences of actions taken and the relational or personal implications that unfolded as a result. Through this process, the recipient develops a deeper appreciation for the subtleties of timing, intention, and psychological readiness. Ultimately, integration transforms the urgency of a message from a fleeting event into a lasting opportunity for insight, personal development, and alignment between the conscious mind and the deeper currents of the psyche, ensuring that each experience contributes to the ongoing journey of self-awareness and intentional living.